This video shows you how to automatically calculate percentages and grades on iDoceo. First we need to enter some new data, so hit the button in the top right to enter a new column. I've entered the name test1 as my header, and then out of 60 so we know what we're doing. Pressing on the editor tab at the top allows us to tell iDoceo what sort of information it is that we're inputting. Since we're going to be entering numbers, I'm going to choose numeric keypad. I then double tap on the individual cell to start entering the numbers. Having to tap on every single individual cell is quite annoying though, so I press on this button, which allows me to choose what happens after I've entered each data. Do I want it to stop, go on to the cell below, the cell to the left, or the cell to the right? I'm going to choose for it to automatically go to the cell below, and then enter all of my data. With all of the data now recorded, we can start to do things with it. We can get it to automatically calculate an average line by clicking on grade type and then pressing the Add Average Line button. The key to iDoceo though is to tell it what the information means, so telling it that this is a mark out of 60. Really this should be done when you enter a new column. However, you can change this by double tapping on where it says Test 1 and then entering the column setup. The grade type button lets you tell iDoceo what it's out of. If it's a new one that you haven't used before, go down to Add New Numeric Grade Type and type in the bottom the maximum mark. To calculate these as percentages, add a new column, press Editor, this is a calculation, then Grade Type and mark it out of 100. You need to tell it where it's getting the information from, so when the column appears, press on the little calculator, highlight the column you wanted to take the information from, and then click Add Percentage Suffix if you want the percentage symbol to appear. To automatically calculate grades, add another column, it's a calculation, then choose the grade type to be a grade. Again, press on the calculator and tell it where it's getting the grades from. As a different way of displaying this, I've set mine up as a different grade type so that it will colour the cell to also indicate the grade. In order to do this, you need to go right back to the start and go into the settings for the grades. By choosing the different grades that you have, you'll be able to change any colours and percentages according to the grades and also the names for them. Numeric and text display slightly differently, but you'll be able to play around with the different settings and set it up exactly how you want to. Here is a quick demonstration of adding a new grade with associated names, percentages and colours. Make sure you name your new grade type, otherwise it's very hard to distinguish from any other. I will then apply this new grade type to our existing data. Notice though that it is not the box that is coloured, but the text. This is the setting that tells us whether it's applying the colour to the text or to the cell. These columns are a little bit wide, and in the setup we can change the width of the individual cells. If you have a one-off column and you don't want to set up a new grade type, there is a workaround, but it's not a very good solution. I'm going to tell it to work out these marks out of 56 into a percentage by setting it as a calculation. I then set it as a generic grade, and then when I press the calculator I tell it a different percentage to take from that column. Rather than it being 100% of the grade, I'm going to give it a greater mark. This is done by a quick calculation, which I will show to you now. By using this formula, you'll be able to work out what percentage you need to input. However, this is not the greatest method. The reason for this is that iDoceo doesn't understand this information, and so can't do any calculations for it. If you want to add any grades, you have to do it manually. For this reason, I would always recommend telling iDoceo what the maximum mark is, as shown earlier in this video. If you have several marks that you want to average, as in this example, simply set up another column and tell it to do another calculation. Tell it the grade type you'd like, out of 100 if you want a percentage, then when the column appears, press on the calculator and tap each of the columns that you would like it to use to calculate it. It automatically assumes an equal weighting for each column, but you can change this if you want to. Your data doesn't all have to be out of the same maximum mark, as long as you've told iDoceo what the maximum mark is for any particular column. Here is an example where I'm changing test 3 to be out of 100, and the calculation automatically updates itself. iDoceo can also do other things, such as adding columns together, but I'll leave that one for another video.